Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Kathleen Fullen, and I would like to introduce Paul Skidmore, running for Alder from District 9. As we begin, please tell our viewers a bit about how your educational, vocational, and civic experience has prepared you for the position and why you decided to run for Alder.
Thank you, and Kathleen, thanks to the League for this opportunity to speak. I am Paul Skidmore. I am running for re-election as Alder because I believe that I understand the needs, wants, and concerns of my constituents, and that I have the education, knowledge, and experience to effectively represent them on the council. I am nonpartisan. I do not represent a political party, ideology, or new narrative. My constituents include the individuals, organizations, and businesses who live, work, or shop or visit the 9th District. I have 20 years of experience working with my constituents, city staff, 4 mayors, 3 city attorneys, and others to solve problems and help manage the 9th District. I've served on many city boards, committees, commissions, task force, and work groups. I have extensive professional background as well in public safety, public works, planning and development, and park planning and design. I also believe that I understand how to meet the needs of my constituents as well as balance the needs of the city of Madison as a whole.
Thank you. What issue or issues have you identified as being a primary concern to the residents of your district, and how would you approach tackling them?
Thank you for the question. This is an easy one for me. The loss of public safety is the biggest issue. We've experienced a dramatic increase in weapons offenses this last year, close to 80%, car thefts and burglaries. And I propose to restore this public safety by providing education on personal safety and violence prevention, supporting violence interruption programs, maintaining a well-equipped and trained police department, and working with the Dane County judges to find alternatives to incarceration while holding people accountable for their criminal activity.
There will be an advisory referendum on the ballot in April about a number of modifications to the Common Council, including changing the number of members, making it full-time, and changing the term of office. Which of the ideas being advanced do you embrace, and why or why not?
I was a member of the TFOG work group for 2 years. We met over 90 times. We averaged about maybe 2 or 3 people per meeting. And we had a lot of testimony by many people. And we had some recommendations that were put into a final report, which in my opinion, were not overwhelming recommendations. And they included a number of items that I didn't support. And they were lacking in addressing what I think is one of the more important issues. I do not support reducing the size of the council and making it full-time. That would make it professional. I think that there's a number of smaller recommendations that are good, but the recommendations that are coming forward to the referendum are not something that I can support. Furthermore, the fact that we have over 100 commissions, committees, and boards is a problem, that's significantly higher than any other community in the country. And that was one of our charges to discuss, yet we did not even address it. The recommendation was we should look at it in the future. I think that's one of the major problems. So it's hard for me to find a lot that is great about the work that we did for 2 years.
My next question is about homelessness, evictions, and lack of affordable housing, which are all vexing problems for Madison that seem to have been exacerbated in the time of COVID-19. What ideas would you advance or support to help solve these problems?
Great question. I support an effort to end homelessness. I voted that way and will continue to do so. I think that part of the solution is not to build many more homeless shelters, but to get people into permanent housing. And that means programs to have affordable housing and transitional housing to support them. I've supported the Housing First program. I've supported other affordable housing programs that allow homeless transition. In particular, I've supported the Tree Lane Family Apartments, as well as the Rethke single person affordable housing alternative to get people off the streets. I think that's important. We're going to be looking at a proposal very soon to build a homeless shelter for men out in the Easttown area. I have concerns about that because of the location. I would much prefer to see that downtown, where it's closer to services, support services, and the like. I think that ending homelessness is going to be a multifaceted task. It's not going to be easy, but I support the many ways that it's being addressed.
With the selection of a new police chief and the creation of a community oversight board, there's a lot of attention focused on policing and criminal justice, both from the perspective of racial equity in law enforcement and the concern of many citizens that you mentioned, that in fact crime, especially car thefts and home burglaries, is increasing and that police response is inadequate. How would you deal with these concerns?
That's a very good question, and I'm looking forward to working with Chief Barnes when he's on duty. He'll be sworn in very shortly, and I believe that the Citizen Oversight Committee can play an important part in it. However, I am a police supporter, and having worked with them for the last 20 years, I do not believe that they are systemically racist. I think they're a well-run organization that's a model around the country for good policing, community policing. And like any department, they can be doing a better job and will continue to do that. I also think that, there are many challenges with an increase in crime. Part of the problem is that the council continues to reduce funding in a realistic way to provide resources that are necessary, and that's creating part of the problem. I also think that it's unfair to say that these are police problems when we have a judicial system that releases repeat offenders, and we do not have the necessary facilities to either incarcerate or rehabilitate offenders. A lot of the car thefts are being made by individuals that are released after they're caught, and they continue to repeat. And we need to work with the Dane County judicial system and others to provide alternatives to incarceration and to hold people accountable. So I think it's a wider problem than just the police. And I think that this is something that we're going to have to work on.
Madison businesses of all kinds have been severely stressed during the past year. What, if anything, would you propose to support business revitalization?
I could not agree more that businesses have been struggling for a couple reasons. Number one, with the restrictions on COVID, some businesses have already gone out of business. They folded up, and due to some of the violence associated with the peaceful protest over the summer, have caused others to have fear and keeping their business down in downtown in particular. I supported Alder Vivere's proposal to help the downtown businesses, and I was very disappointed that the city did not do more. I think that there's more we can do. What we need to continue to do is to provide relief where we can for the COVID type problems, the relaxation and deferring of taxes and payments and licenses. I think that's one thing we can do. We can also provide economic assistance for struggling businesses where possible to bridge the gap to get through until we're through COVID and people can get back on their feet.
What measures should Madison take to increase our city's environmental sustainability?
We have a number of good laws on the books already. We have a number of committees that are working on this. One of the efforts that is being done is through this pandemic, we are trying to do stormwater studies, water quality studies. We need to continue with that to make them a priority to clean up our environment. We also need to do other types of things or other types of actions, such as the incentives and opportunities to switch to alternative types of fuel, such as electric. Our auto charging stations requirement in apartments is a good idea. I think there's a number of ways that we can work incrementally to support people in Madison to provide incentives, number one, and to provide requirements as well.
Thanks. On what committee or committees would you like to serve and why?
I've served on most of the committees in my last 20 years. Currently, I'm on the ALRC and Parks. I have a particular love for the Parks Commission. I think, I served 10 years on the Park Commission before I became an alder, and another 10 to 15 after that. So I'm well on my way. I want to continue to serve on that. I've also been on the Board of Public Works. I think that's an area where I can add a lot because of my experience in construction and development. I also have an interest in finance as well. I've been on the Finance Committee a couple different times because we are facing a budget crisis that people are not fully aware of, and that I think we need more fiscal responsibility.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
I would like to thank the constituents, my constituents in the 9th District, for trusting me over the last 20 years to work with them and represent them on the Madison City Council. We've got a lot done. We've accomplished a lot of projects, a lot of improvements, a lot of goodwill in the district and in the city. And I'm hoping that I have an opportunity to represent them for at least another 2.
I want to thank Paul Skidmore for speaking with us, and I'd like to thank the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. As with every election, please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.